Reinventing yourself is actually pretty simple. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do to become the person you want to be. So I've gone through this process a few times in my life, but usually it was unconsciously. I never knew exactly what I needed to do to become the person I wanted to be. So it was kind of just a lot of guessing. It's very painful and took a lot longer than it should have. But this year I've been really intentional with the change that I wanted to create in my life, and it's been a much smoother process. So you can think about it like Pokemon. Sometimes you just need to get them to a certain level to evolve. To evolve Charmeleon to Charizard, you just need to get him to level 36 and he evolves on his own. For humans, we have these milestones too, whether that's graduating high school and going to college, getting a new job, or just getting older. These life steps and processes will just naturally create change through your life through forced adaptation. But sometimes Pokemon need a little element stone to force evolution. You can turn Eevee into whatever type you want, dark, fire, water, but you need that specific stone to create that change, which is a catalyst. And humans can also evolve with a catalyst. You just need to do the right things in the right order, aka the element stone, and you get this result. So knowing you need to be intentional about reinventing yourself, there's a few steps we can take to get there. First is a life audit. You need to be aware of where you're at now and where you want to go, and you have to be objective about this. You can't get your feelings involved. You need to look at it with a critical eye and see, where am I really fucking up in my life? What am I doing right? And where do I actually want to go? So there's a few questions you can ask yourself to really dig into this. First, why do I want to reinvent myself? What's the purpose of this change? Next, what am I unhappy with in my life? Be specific. Number 3, what am I okay with but still want to improve? Because not everything is going to need drastic change. Some areas of your life may only require minor tweaks. What is going well for me that I don't want to change? Again, you don't always need to change all areas of your life. Sometimes you have some foundations that are going pretty good and you don't want to mess that up. And lastly, what area of my life needs the most work? This is going to be what you really focus on in the next few months, whether that's fitness or just working more or focusing on your relationships. There's going to be one main area that you want to focus on. And then you're going to create your anti-vision. This is what you don't want your life to look like in the future. What kind of job do you not want? What kind of people do you not want to be around? What kind of city do you not want to live in? Because knowing what you don't like and where you don't want to go is just as important as knowing what you do like and where you do want to go. Because it'll help you avoid the things that don't get you to the life that you want. And then you're going to create your vision. This is where you want to get to in your future. So what kind of city do you want to live in? Who do you want to be surrounded by? What kind of job do you want? What kind of money do you want to make? Asking yourself these questions and really mapping out a clear vision is how you pull that future into your reality. And you're going to want to write this down so you can just reference it whenever you fall off track. It's going to be your guiding light that you can look at, be like, okay, this is where I'm headed. This is why I'm doing all this. This is where I don't want to go. This is where I was. And when you are aware of all these things, it just helps you stay on track. And when you get thrown off a little bit, you can reference this and you're like, all right, this is the mission. This is where I'm headed. Look at them. Next is the identity shift. You're going to write down exactly who you want to be. What does this version of you do on a daily basis? Who does he hang out with? Who is he friends with? What does he think like? Get very specific on this as well, because you're going to reference it time and time again, and you want to have a clear picture of where you want to go. And then you need to become this person, assume the identity. For example, I decided that I'm going to go sober the rest of the year and not drink any alcohol. I felt like I was drinking a little too much, partying a little too much, and I want to focus more on work. So if someone invites me out and I say, I'm trying not to drink right now, I can easily slip and fall back into that habit. But if I say, no, sorry, I don't drink right now, or I don't drink anymore, I don't drink the rest of this year, then it's much more likely that I'm going to stick to that. If you're trying to get into the gym in a healthy lifestyle, instead of saying, oh, I'm trying to work out, no, you are a healthy and fit person. I work out 5 times a week. I eat healthy. I am someone who prioritizes my health above all. This starts to create a new identity of the person that you are. Instead of trying to be this person, you are this person. And while there will be some disconnect because you quite literally aren't that person yet, if you keep reaffirming that and tell yourself that you are that person, eventually it becomes your reality. You're going to reaffirm this identity daily, if not weekly. If you wake up and the first thing you look at is the new identity that you're forming, the new person you're becoming, that's just going to be in your brain all day. Like, okay, this is who I'm becoming. This is what I need to do to stick to that. These are the actions and steps I'm going to follow. And when you know who you're going to become, you're much more likely to stick to that. Don't negotiate with yourself. Stick to this as best you can. And while slip-ups will happen, don't let them happen 2 days in a row. Get back on track immediately. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're not quite this person yet. We're all human. We all fuck up sometimes. But when it becomes a habit again, that's when you fall back into your old patterns. All right, number 3 is to create a new life ecosystem. You're gonna avoid all the negative environments, all the negative people, and all the negative behaviors that you were involved with before. Start hanging out at new locations, start talking to new people, start doing different actions that reaffirm the new identity that you want. You should start consuming new resources relevant to the person you want to become. What do I mean by that? Reading this, if you want to get into the gym and you don't know many people who go to the gym, you're not surrounded by it much, it's not in your life all the time, start watching gym YouTube videos. I wouldn't really say TikToks because that's its own thing, but start watching gym YouTube videos, read up on resources if that's your thing, read books, listen to gym podcasts. Just start consuming content that is relevant to the person you're going to become. And when you just fill your brain with all this new information about who you want to become and the topics that that person would be interested in, it's so much more likely that you're going to become that person. For me, I knew I wanted to start getting into business, but I knew jack shit about business. I didn't go to school for it. No one was really teaching me it. So when I wanted to start making this my identity, I started consuming a fuck ton of business content, started reading books about it, started listening to audiobooks, started listening to podcasts about it, watching YouTube videos, and now my feed is mostly business content, and that's the information I'm consuming on the daily. So that's the identity that I'm starting to become. This is more likely to make me take the actions that someone who is an entrepreneur would do as opposed to someone who's just interested or trying business. So you should be listening to the people ahead of you or the people who are doing what you want to do. Stop consuming irrelevant content. Only consume content that is relevant to who you want to become. If it's not feeding your future, it's pulling you back into who you were. I've unsubscribed from many YouTube channels that I used to watch that are no longer relevant to me. I've unfollowed a bunch of people on Instagram who I don't want to see their stuff. And now I'm almost exclusively consuming content that's reaffirming my new identity and gonna make me the person that I want to be. And when you have the identity in mind and you're consuming all this relevant information, you need to create a new routine. Whether that's swapping out leisure time for gym time, creating more room in your schedule to learn whatever you want to learn, or just waking up earlier and going to bed earlier so that you have more time to do the most important things. That is how you make time for what truly matters and what will truly move the needle towards your future. For me, I used to wake up at 7 or 7:30 every day, have this complicated morning routine, and then have very little time to do my personal stuff before I had to go to work. But now I go to bed earlier, I get up at 6, I have a very short morning routine that just gets me on, gets me alert, and then I start work. It's much quicker time to action, and I've suddenly found about 2 more hours in my day to work on what's most important to me. And if I didn't tie that to my identity and make this new routine shift, then I'd still be waking up late, still have this complicated morning routine, and not taking the actions that are actually going to get me to where I want to be. This leads into number 4, which is have a bias to action. You should have daily non-negotiables that must get done. They don't have to be huge tasks, just small things every day that are going to chip away and help you become the new person that you want to be. These are going to be things that the new version of you would do. For example, hitting your protein goal if you're trying to get into the gym. This new version of you has 200 grams of protein every day. That's a daily non-negotiable. He drinks a gallon of water every day. That's a daily non-negotiable. He reads 10 pages every day. That's a daily non-negotiable. Doesn't have to be some crazy huge thing. It's just small steps that are going to get you to where you want to be. And you got to stick to this routine. At first, it's pretty tough. You're making a lot of changes, but when you just assume the new identity and you do these daily habits every day, take small action every day, it adds up over time. You see progress and it becomes easier and easier. And it should be rough at first. You need to take imperfect action. If you wait for the perfect moment, for the perfect opportunity, it's never going to come to you. You get so much further by stepping into the arena, trying things, making mistakes, learning from them, and repeating. You're gonna need to tweak your routine. You're gonna need to eliminate some things. You're gonna need to add some things, and that's okay. You just have to keep trying, which leads us into the fifth and final point, which is to iterate. Your vision and your identity will most likely change as you go. Don't be afraid of this. Update it as needed. As you get new information and you start to become the new person, some things are gonna stick, some things you're gonna wanna drop, and then you're gonna wanna add some things. If you're so rigid on this is who I have to become exactly, it's gonna make it a lot harder and more uncomfortable. But if you're kind of flexible with it, then you're like, okay, maybe I wanted a six pack, but I realized that I just wanna be jacked now. I don't care about having perfect abs. And you just tweak these things along the way, and it just helps you get through the process easier. And you'll realize as you go through the journey more that you didn't know exactly who you wanted to be in the beginning, and that's okay because you're going to change it along the way. So you should be journaling or reflecting somehow on who you want to become, the steps along the way, what you're feeling, what's working for you, what's not. So you review this and use it as feedback to reinforce the positive behaviors and cut out the negative ones or the ones that aren't working for you. And when you stick with this long enough, you keep iterating, you keep reaffirming your identity, you do the things you need to do every day. Eventually, you become that new version of yourself. So to summarize, we're going to start with a life audit. Where are you at now? Where do you want to go? Where do you not want to go? Then you're going to shift your identity. Who exactly do you want to be? Become this person and reaffirm your new identity on a daily basis. Then you create your new life ecosystem. Be in the environments that you should be, avoid the bad ones, avoid the negative people, avoid the negative behaviors, and find and consume relevant content to your new mission. And use all this new information to create a new routine that supports the habits of who you want to become. Next, have a bias to action. Do your new non-negotiables every day, stick with the routine, and get used to imperfect action. And lastly, iterate. Use the feedback that you're getting to change the identity as needed, reinforce positive behaviors, cut out negative ones. And that is how you reinvent yourself. Now go do something your future self will thank you for. Peace.